Good afternoon, I'm Dennis Galucki, and welcome to the 410th Imagine Buffalo program, and another great virtual Imagine lecture hosted by the Buffalo and Erie County Public Library. Thanks so much for joining us today. This program is created by the Center for the Study of Art and Architecture, History and Nature, or Cezanne as I like to pronounce it, and ImagineLifelongLearning.com. We're going to start with our speakers shortly, but first, a little housekeeping. Everyone watching will be muted during our speakers presentation, which will last about 15 minutes or so. We'll have time for questions at the end. So if you do have a question, please type it into the chat box and we'll get to as many as we can. This program is being recorded. You'll be able to watch it again later on the library's Facebook and YouTube channels, and please share the link with your friends and networks. As a reminder, Life Willing will be here on Zoom every Tuesday at 12:30 p.m. with a great lineup of local speakers. Now, today is the fourth Tuesday, so our focus is nature and science, and our primary theme is Imagine Greater Buffalo as a premier North American nature and culture center. Our featured speakers today are Joan Bozer and Marika Woods-Frankenstein. Joan Bozer is a trustee of the Western New York Sustainable Energy Association and the solar-powered Buffalo Heritage Carousel Incorporated. She served in the Erie County Legislature for 18 years, and she has been advocating for the use of solar and renewable energy technologies for over 30 years. Marika Woods-Frankenstein is also a trustee of the Western New York Sustainable Energy Association and Buffalo Heritage Carousel, Inc. She organized Cultural Row for the Elmwood Festival of the Arts for many years. So now let's welcome Joan Bozer and Marika Woods-Frankenstein. Joan and Marika, take it away.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for this opportunity to share this exciting new Buffalo waterfront attraction, the affordable and accessible solar-powered Buffalo Heritage Carousel, which showcases cutting-edge solar technology of the future by powering the beautifully restored vintage carousel manufactured right here in North Tonawanda in 1924, and which has now come back to its original home. The purpose for which our Buffalo Heritage Carousel Incorporated was formed is very simple: to purchase, restore, and operate a vintage carousel for the benefit of the public, and to demonstrate how solar power and other renewable energy technologies can be used to power homes and buildings and carousels. And of course, how the laws of math, science, and physics are involved in the operation of the carousel. So it celebrates the thriving carousel manufacturing industry in the Tonawandas at the turn of the last century. And it also celebrates the innovations and inventions of renewable energy technology, starting with Tesla's invention of alternating current and the transmission of hydropower for Niagara Falls to Buffalo. And now I'd like to introduce Marika of the Buffalo Heritage Carousel, who has been preparing the STEM educational program for the carousel, among many other things. Marika, take it away.
Thank you so much, Joan. And without Joan, we wouldn't have a project. This whole concept of the solar-powered carousel came about through a conversation that Joan had with an associate of hers, Laura Briggs, who is the Dean of the School of Architecture at the Rhode Island School of Design. And here we are 16 years later, ready to open May 28th, Friday at noon to the public for just $1 a ride. And the 1924 Herschel, or rather Spillman Engineering park-style carousel was manufactured here in the area in North Tonawanda, and it was purchased by an ambitious immigrant, Dominic DeAngelis, and he was operating the carousel for on and off for about 15 years. And then due to unforeseen circumstances, the carousel had to be dismantled, and it was stored underneath the porch and also in the basement of the DeAngelis family for 60 years. After that 60 years, the family decided that the carousel should in one piece go to Carousel Restoration facility in Ohio. And for 30 years, it sat until, fortunately, the Wendt Foundation understood that we were in need of funding to purchase this carousel, this beautiful carousel. And through Robert Cressy and the Wendt Foundation, we were able to secure $250,000 for the purchase of the DeAngelis carousel. And here we are now with a restored carousel. Fortunately, we were able to do the restoration of the carousel horses and menagerie back in North Tonawanda, only blocks away from where it was originally manufactured. So it's finally come back home. And now the carousel is at Canalside. Our architect for the enclosure is a local talent, and that's Kevin Connors of Ecologic Studio. And he has chosen to use Douglas fir timber frame from the Pacific Northwest. And it's so beautiful. We can't wait for you all to come down and experience how lovely the enclosure is, in addition to how marvelous the restoration has been. The team that restored the carousel horses and menagerie, and also the that we have several chariots, one of which is a chariot for folks that use wheelchairs. And so we want to accommodate everyone of all abilities and all ages. And if you see, oh, great. So this is one of the first carousel horses to have been restored by the team in Buffalo. And there are some restoration team members that have logged over 1,000 hours in restoring both the carousel animals and also the rounding boards, in addition to the chariots. So we're surrounded by really dedicated artists, and they were all under the supervision of two carousel experts, a gentleman whose first name is Patrick. His last name is a little challenging to pronounce, and Rosa Patton is our artist that paints all of the horses. But Patrick is a professional wood carver. So when the horses came to North Tonawanda, he took all of the horses and chariots apart, and then he put them back together so that they would be even stronger than they were when we first received them. The mechanism has been in Ohio, and that's been restored as well. And about 3 weeks ago, there was a merging of the carousel mechanism and also the horses. So as we sit here, the carousel is just about ready to have a load test conducted, and that will happen in the next 3 weeks. May we please see the next slide? Oh, here's our wonderful lion, and he's just gorgeous. Look at all the detail in the mane and also on the saddle and all the fringe work. In a lot of restoration for carousel animals, the romance side, the side that the public sees, is the side that has the most flourish in terms of detail. But our team made sure that both sides of the animals have the same amount of attention and detail. Next slide, please. Oh, and here, oh, there we are. Here's our wonderful giraffe. And he came, I believe he came to us in pieces, and he was painstakingly put back together again. And he's just lovely. Next slide, please. Solar powered carousel, how cool is that? We are fortunate enough to have gifted to the project a solar roofing system that is 25 kilowatts. And that is enough energy created by the sun to power the mechanism of the carousel. So it's enough energy that's produced from the solar array on our roof to move the carousel round and round. So in addition to being a wonderful, affordable and fun attraction for families and the general public, we'll also have STEM programming available to school-age children. We're starting off nice and simply, and we're having a partnership with the Girl Scouts of Western New York, in addition to the Herschel Carousel Factory Museum that has STEM programming that's up and running. And again, a big shout out to the Herschel Carousel Factory Museum. Without them, we would not be here today. They have given us such sage advice over the years, and we really look to them, and we're indebted to their sharing all of the information of everything, all things carousel. Next slide, please. And again, as Joan spelled out, the exciting waterfront destination for children and families, that's what makes this project so marvelous. And it's a celebration of our region's leadership in manufacturing of carousels and the demonstration of science and physics in the operation of the carousel will be exemplified and illustrated through our solar array, in addition to the programming that we will share with the public. And it's a celebration of our region's leadership in renewable energy technology, because this is our lead horse, and it was adopted by friends of Mr. Robert Cressy, who is the president of the board of the Wendt Foundation. And those same generous friends also adopted a horse on behalf of Mrs. Marianne Cressy. So we're so grateful to the community for celebrating the generosity of a wonderful Buffalonian who unfortunately just passed away, Robert Cressy, but this is his horse.
Nice.
And that's our lead horse, which will be on display and not on the carousel. And this horse has not been restored. It is, this is its original paint, and it is glorious. May I please see the next slide? Oh, great. So this is an illustration of, an architect's illustration of the, I believe it's the north side of the carousel enclosure, the Key Bank Roundhouse. And as you see, we have a lot of glass and some brick, and the brick will, the brick portion of the building is where we'll have the Heritage Corner, where Mr. Cressy's horse will be situated. And if you notice, this is the roofing areas are where the solar panels are situated, and they don't look like traditional solar panels. They're made to look like roofing material. So part of the roofing material is not photovoltaic, and some are photovoltaic cells. So what Tesla has done so seamlessly is to create a product that is hardly discernible as a solar array or solar cell. And next slide, please. And here's, as we mentioned previously, the Douglas fir timber frame enclosure, and it's It's beautiful. It's lovely. And the interior is entirely comprised of Douglas fir, and from Oregon and also British Columbia. And what we're doing with our project is, in the next year, we are going to be engaging in carbon offsets to pay back the environment, so to speak, for all of the CO2 emissions that were lofted into the atmosphere from the transportation of the Douglas fir timber frame from the Pacific Northwest to New York State. And we'll be working with a few schools. Tapestry Charter School in particular has been chosen to help us with the carbon offset initiative. Next slide, please. And here's our lovely, we haven't named this horse, but we do refer to her as Rose, and she was beautiful when she got to us, and now that she's been restored, she's just resplendent in her rosebud glory. The next slide, please. And here is a photograph of the enclosure as it is under construction. This was just after the solar roof was installed. And in a few weeks, it will be online and up and running. And the marvelous thing about the Tesla solar roofing system is that there'll be real-time data available to the public as we're producing energy. There'll be a dashboard that indicates how much energy is being produced by the sun and also how much the building needs from that roof. Next slide, please. And again, the timber frame construction, we just couldn't get enough of it because it's just so lovely. Next slide, please. And here is the blowout of the solar roofing system. And if you notice, there's all sorts of wiring within the solar cells, and that is those are mini inverters. So each solar cell is independent of one another. So if there's a series of clouds shading the solar array, the entire solar array will not get knocked off out of commission. So each solar photovoltaic cell will work independent of each other. And it looks like traditional roofing tile. It's so marvelous. Next slide, please. And here is another example of the solar roofing system. This is, I think, very close to the gutter, our gutter system. Next slide, please. And again, this is the cap. This is the roof cap. Again, that is very similar to a traditional slate roof. Next slide, please. And here we are again as we move forward in construction. I clearly can't get enough of our enclosure. We take lots of photographs. And we can't wait for you all to come down because it's just so, it's a delightful building. And it has a real local component to each facet of the project. We have a local architect. The carousel was made locally, and the solar array was made 3 miles away from the solar-powered carousel. Next slide, please. And oh, there's Mr. Cressy's horse. And he's just all the detail. He's a prince. He's so beautiful. Next slide. Oh, and this is formerly a sea monster that we purchased. This was not a part of our original carousel. We purchased this sea monster after the initial purchase, and the lake monster, which we now refer to him as, has been completely restored locally in North Tonawanda. And he's also just really marvelous. Next slide, please. And we cannot wait for you to come down and take many, many rides on the solar-powered Buffalo Heritage Carousel, powered by the sun. And we're coming soon to Canalside in downtown Buffalo. Our opening day is Friday, May 28th, 2021 at 12 noon. And we can't wait for you to take a spin, because once is never enough. Thank you so much to the Imagine speaker series. We're so grateful to be a part of this wonderful lunchtime informative series.
Marika, and thank you and Joan for your the culmination, near culmination of years and years of work. Folks, we're going to remind you, you can submit questions, simply put them in the chat box, type them in there. In the meantime, let's see what's the obvious one. Tell us, remind us again of what you imagine the cost to be for people using this, the family membership that I understand you have. Give us a few details about that, if you would.
Each ride is $1 a ride, and what's really exciting is that we have family memberships and also youth memberships, in addition to grandparents memberships. And they start off as low as $25 for student memberships. There's a grandparents membership that runs approximately, I believe it's $75 a year, and the family membership is $50. And you can ride as often as you like, all year round.
Nice, very nice, like that. The pride that both of you are demonstrating, it is a beautiful building. I certainly hope somebody's thinking about inviting Elon Musk to opening day festivities.
Of course.
Very good.
Of course.
No, this is good. This is good, and we'll see where that goes. Leah, do we have any questions?
First off, I wanted to apologize for the interruptions. We do have some questions. Someone would love to hear about the process for getting this project approved for Canalside.
Oh boy. Joan, do you want to take that one?
What was the question? How close are we to getting it, all the necessary paperwork done?
They'd like to know about the process for getting the project approved.
How many years do they have for the answer?
Well, there was, that's a tough one. There's so many different aspects, so many different approvals and permits that had to be acquired on the way. And I think that would be a good question for Karima El-Bahari, who is our operating director. I'm not exactly sure the technicalities. Are you, Marika?
No.
Well, I know that it took us a while to, what is marvelous again is that Mayor Byron Brown gave us the site for $1 a year. It was about approximately 4 years ago. So we are situated on the Dunbar site, or I believe now formerly the Dunbar site at Canalside. So that was approximately 5 years ago. And in terms of the permitting process, we're getting all sorts of permits for the operation of the carousel, and in addition to our just standard certificate of occupancy by finishing up the construction of the building and also the conclusion of the installation of the carousel.
We're leasing it for $1 a year.
Nice.
Great.
Leasing the land for $1 a year.
And what is your relationship with the Herschel Carousel Museum in North Tonawanda? Do you have one?
Our relationship is ultimate and sincere gratitude, because they are the mothership. Without the Herschel Carousel Factory Museum, we would not be here today. Ray Profak, who has been the the board chair for many years. She serves on our board, and she has shared her best practices and also just sage advice as far as how to help us restore and run the carousel. And we're indebted to the Herschel Carousel Factory Museum and all of the volunteers that have helped restore the carousel to it's just incredible, the work that they've done.
Folks that come down to ride on our carousel will be encouraged to go out to the Herschel Carousel Factory Museum. They have kiddie rides out there. They have a lot of museum pieces. They have a lot of Wurlitzer band organs on display. It's truly a wonderful place for families to visit.
So I can see collaboration, but you are two separate not-for-profit entities.
Yes.
We were advised they needed to be separate.
Good. What else, Leah? Any others?
Yeah,
We're almost time to wrap up.
Will there be music playing while people ride?
Yes, we have a Wurlitzer 153 band organ that was manufactured in North Tonawanda, New York. So again, she's come back home as well. And
yes.
It sounds like a 5-piece band. You want to dance around. It's such happy music. It's jubilant. So it will merge seamlessly with the carousel. Even though it wasn't original to this carousel, to the park style carousel, it still fits perfectly.
Great. And I think we finally just want to know if there are any COVID protocols for the carousel or what those might be.
Yeah, safety is our paramount goal, and we want to be a safe place for children and families. So we're going above and beyond what is mandated by the state and the city, where everyone will be wearing masks. Each carousel horse is sprayed down with a non-toxic COVID destroying sanitizing agent. And we will also have hand sanitizing stations on site because we want to maintain a safe space for the public. And we're very serious about that.
Wonderful. Dennis, would you like to wrap up?
I think we have to. Unfortunately, time is forcing us to say goodbye for today. Joan and Marika, thank you for a wonderful effort and presentation. The community thanks you as best as we can with a program like this to at least acknowledge those great long years of efforts that finally is coming to fruition. So this summer has another added attraction at Canalside, and that's certainly a good thing. Looking forward to it, having watched the progress for the last couple of years, basically. All right. Thank you again for joining us, folks. And join us next week, same time, same Zoom link, when we talk with Rich Newberg about Buffalo TV News and the pursuit of racial justice. It's going to be, should be a very important presentation. It's a project that Rich Newberg has been working on with the Broadcasters Association for some time. So he'll be showing it to us. So folks, thanks again. Be well and good afternoon.
Thanks, Dennis.
Thank you so much. Thank you
Marika,
both. Thank you, Dennis.
You're both quite welcome. Thank you.